Wall Street, the nation's financial center. Madison Avenue, advertising capital of the world. Boston's Route 128. Silicon Valley and Orange County, California. A thriving cultural mecca and retailing showplace, as well as a hotbed of American technology. From these and other important locations throughout the world, Chesney Communications presents Window on Wall Street.
All we do is sell. We are a sales company, and if I lose my concentration on sales, we will cease to exist.
I had a 38% gross increase of volume.
We don't advertise at all. It's amazing that we've grown 38% in the last year without a nickel on advertising.
In one of our product lines, we've increased, over the last 5 years, we've increased the volume by 1 million units, except for this year, where we've increased it by 2 million units.
With all the negative news we see and hear in the media these days, Window on Wall Street felt it was both timely and appropriate to focus on some success stories in the business community. I'm Robert Chesney, and in this special report, we'll be looking at the impact of sales power in the 90s and the role that its effect will play in the growth of companies who take advantage of it.
The tougher the times, the bigger the challenge for professional salesmanship. And today that makes a difference. You see, it's no longer a matter of building a better product and have the world be a path to your door. And today they wouldn't even know where to find your door. My personal feeling is that any company's future from here on out will depend upon their sales ability and their marketing ability more so than any other facet of their business.
We're still a family-run company, and we have a goal to reach $8 billion in 1995. To get there, we're going to have to sell a lot of product.
One of our clients here in Southern California determined that if they could increase sales by 10%, it would give them a 50% improvement in bottom line profit.
According to Joan Bigham, managing partner with BGM Integrated Marketing and a graduate school professor at Pepperdine University, top-level executive involvement in sales and marketing is becoming a major priority in successful companies.
No one can afford to delegate marketing or sales anymore. Everyone has to be involved with marketing. If you were a student of Theodore Levitt, you'd say that marketing is everything, and other people say that the CEO has to be the ¡1 salesman. So there can't be delegation. There has to be ownership. And as I said, like the quality process, the cascading from the boardroom down through the sales organization right to the customer support people on the phone is essential. The best written marketing strategy is worthless if it's not being delivered daily by every member of the organization.
Roy Chitwood, president of Max Sachs International, a leading sales training company, commented on the changing role of salespeople.
Well, we feel that today the salesperson has to be in partnership with his or her customer. A salesperson makes a sales call for only one reason, and that reason is to be of service to the customer.
But Don Estrin, a successful business owner and past president of Sales and Marketing Executives International, feels that salespeople in general have a long way to come.
Of 60% of the calls that are made by salespeople, the salesperson never even asks for the order, which means they've lost 100% of that business.
Roy Chitwood shared his views concerning the definite trend to professionalize the sales industry.
Well, I think the enlightened CEO is fully aware that his or her greatest asset is the undeveloped potential of their people. And that's the only asset that can continue to appreciate, especially in hard times. And companies understand that and make the investment in proper education of their people has to see a dramatic impact on bottom line profits.
As our discussion began to focus on the importance of sales training, we asked Roy Chitwood for his perspective.
I found for sales education to be effective requires three things. Number one, has to be ongoing. There is no such thing as a one-shot approach to sales education. Number two, it has to be repetitious. You have to tell them and tell them and tell them. Or as we say in our training, you have to sell them and sell them and sell them. And number three, it has to have real-world application. That salesperson has to understand how this training affects them today on their job, selling their product to their customer.
In addition to the 3 points Roy Chitwood made, Joan Bigham, formerly with the Malcolm Baldrige Award winner Xerox Corporation, feels that, like the quality of a firm's goods or services, the selling system must be a process.
What is required really is the same approach that was taken in manufacturing, which is a process, really an organized approach to marketing and to selling. And when you have a selling process and when you have a product launch process, then you're better able to apply total quality concepts.
Well, we believe that selling is truly a science. We know that when the salesperson makes a sales call, that the buyer has a hidden agenda. And this hidden agenda amounts to the buying decisions that that individual is going to make before buying that salesperson's product or service.
The process Mr. Chitwood mentioned is known as track selling.
It's logical. Logical both for the user as well as the consumer, the buyer. It's not tricky.
That makes all the difference to me. As I mentioned earlier, the honesty and integrity part and respect part that the professional salesperson has and has to demonstrate continually makes all the difference in the world.
The system works in any industry. It works for me as a consultant. It works for someone who's selling copiers.
This is Steve Hammerschlag, president of Microtechnology, one of Orange County, California's fast-track growth companies. Steve is a past winner of California's Entrepreneur of the Year award.
The key factor for success in selling isn't tricks or gimmicks or lines, as many sales training courses focus on. What they focus on is a very clear set of processes that help a salesperson establish his personal credibility and his company's credibility to ascertaining what the need is and then fulfilling that need.
As each of our guests had some first-hand knowledge of the track selling process, we asked them about their results.
The strength of MaxSax, which we have thoroughly enjoyed, is that they've analyzed our needs. And as our motivation and our objectives has changed year to year, MaxSax has developed a program customized for us, which has worked for our sales force and our 2 levels of distribution.
I've been in the selling business for 20 years and have taken many courses in the sales arena and looked at this program and was absolutely pleased. Everyone that I have talked to that has been through the Tyson Track Selling program is very excited and very happy. And I think that the one thing that this program does that others don't is that when you leave the building, it doesn't just stop there. It continues on with a year program that reinforces everything you've learned. And you've got to practice and make sure that you institute those selling procedures and make them a habit.
I was exposed to track selling over 10 years ago, and it was the greatest experience I had, and I've carried it through my management years for the last 10, 11 years, and anytime I get the opportunity to put somebody through a program like this, I do, and this is the best.
It's a great concept, and I have put a number of people through that program and have had just great results.
The sales methodology that MaxSax uses, again, the approach, the rapport, the next step, the qualification, the agreeing on the need, it's very simplistic, and it works for anything. You could sell cars, you could sell computer software, you can sell tangible and intangible. One of my very first questions to Roy Chitwood himself is, just a minute, I sell an intangible. We charge $50,000 for a $20 roll of tape in those days. How can you help me sell that? You're great probably at apples and oranges, but you can't sell software. And he proved me wrong, because for the last dozen or so years I have successfully, using his methodology, sold software in many companies, and here today in terrible economic conditions with a very small startup company, we grew 38%.
What it's taught me to do is to make sure that when I'm in a group situation that everybody's at the same place in the selling cycle. And I find that it is just a far more effective and efficient use of everybody's time. A quick example would be that I sat down with a committee the other day to get their approval on $80,000 worth of funds for this program, as a matter of fact. And I sat down with a track dialogue in front of me, and some of the people who had been through the program actually knew that what I was doing. I mean, they knew I was using a track dialogue, but in 20 minutes I had their approval for $80,000. It works well.
Well, I was 22 years old, so I picked up a lot. I didn't know the first thing about selling when I went to MaxAx. And so I guess I had the benefit of going in young. I didn't have any preconceived notions as to how to do it. So I went in and I had a blank sheet of paper in my mind, and they filled the slate.
When I took it the first time, it was a suggested thing. You know, you're going through and you take this class, you read this book, you see this thing, and then my boss says, "Hey, we got this 3-day program." 3 days? What do you mean 3 days? What am I going to do for 3 days? And it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One of the days is my day, Saturday. And I really went in there thinking, okay, guy, what are you going to show me? You know, and I think many people my age have that attitude. You know, I've been kicking in this business for 26 years. I've been selling. You know, what are you going to teach me about, you know, how to? And all of a sudden, it was like taking somebody from where they are, this level, taking them just up one more level. And it was really, as I say, I embraced it immediately because it was such a simplistic thing, yet it had all the impact and power that many of the sophisticated, and I don't mean to say that it's not sophisticated, but many courses that you have, it's all sizzle.
Well, Roy, you must be very proud to hear comments like that from your customer base, because again, these are all people who just volunteered this information. They were not paid to give any testimonials. What did it sound like to you?
Well, it is very gratifying. I think the greatest compliment that I can ever receive is to get a letter or a phone call from one of our participants saying that what you taught me really works. Therefore, a company gets an immediate return on their investment in our training program.
Roy, I'm sure you would agree as president that the hardest thing any company has to do is differentiate itself from competition, and your field is not devoid of competition.
That's right.
What do you feel separates MaxSax from the other training companies?
Well, I think it's very basic. It works. I mean, our clients tell us that it works. Therefore, our clients come back to us again and again and again.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed this opportunity, Roy, to chat with you about this exciting profession, because without sales, as they say, and it's an old cliche, nothing else happens. So in this special report on sales power in the 90s, we've seen and heard that there is an answer to growing and prospering in tough times. And that answer is the better utilization of our human resources through effective sales training. In conclusion, here are some summary comments from our guests.
We looked at 9 firms altogether, and the criteria had to do with a very good selling procedure, certainly a track record with the utility industry, very good trainers, and really somebody who walked the talk. In fact, that's what distinguished Roy Chitwood and MaxSax International, is that when he came in to do a presentation to the steering committee, he was the only one who actually modeled the sales training program that he was trying to sell.
I went into sales as a novice, thinking I knew lots about sales, but armed strictly with MaxSax, I've been in 6 figures every year since I started in sales in 1980.
It's not really, the cost is not that expensive. I think it's just an investment. I mean, to me, it's not that big a deal in terms of cost. As a matter of fact, I think it's a greater cost in not doing it. At least I feel that way.
I'd recommend it to all of our friends in the industry except our competitors.
Till next time, for Window on Wall Street, I'm Robert Chesney.